Hello and welcome back, guys. So went, my internet was a bit disturbed, so my earlier part was ended without any notice. So sorry for that. So I'm just trying to prepare a rough sketch of SOFP. So I'm just putting in the figures first of all. So share capital, retained earning. This will be from working note number 5, right? And then other component of equity. Working note number 6, right? And then translation reserve, working note number 7. This will be total, and then non-controlling interest. Note number 4, right? So once even this is done, then we have our total equity. Bold it, and then liabilities, right? So non-current liabilities. And then after that, current liabilities. Current liabilities, right? So in case of non-current liabilities, let's put in the figures. So 56, 42, 160, 56, 42, 150, 56 plus 42 plus 180. Isn't it 180 though? Okay, 160. 160, right? So in case of current liabilities, it is 185, 7700. 185, 7700. Right, so all these figures we need to basically calculate, right? So this will be total equity and liabilities. This figure should be in bold as well. This figure will be in bold as well. This will basically be sum of all this, right? Sum of what? Sum of all this. This will be basically sum of all this, right? Okay, so let's prepare our working note. Working note number 1, group structure. There are two companies, right? Petal and Stem. So in case of Petal, parent NCI, right? Parent and then NCI. And later, same thing. And then it will be a bit different. 70%, 30%. And then later on, how much did they additionally purchase? 10%, right? So that means that will be 80 and that will be 20. 80, 20%, right? So what about in case of STEM, right? So it's a foreign subsidiary, STEM, bold. It's not this figure, it's 52 and 48, isn't it? 52 and 48, yep. Okay, so let's calculate goodwill, right? Working note Number 2, calculation of net assets. So let's calculate for petrol first of all. Let's merge it, put it in center, and then share capital, retained earning, and then other component of equity, and then after that, fair value adjustment, land, right? And then after that, what was the other thing? Patent, access, amortization, all right. Voting, post acquisition, more this two as well. Same thing over here as well. Copy and then paste. This is M, right? So there is no patent in this, I guess. Okay, so let's put in the figures. So what was the total net assets? 120, right? Okay, 120. This is excluding the patent, right? So patent was 4. And that means before patent, right? So 4. That means before that it was this much. Okay. So it should be 24, right? And then after that, our share capital is from SOFP 38. 38 return earning 49 and 3, right? 49 and 3. So this figure will be 120 minus this minus this minus this, right? Isn't that it? Yep, because that does not include for patent. Yep. So what we can do is that let's bring it down a bit. So this was 120, isn't it? So this will be this minus all this. Okay, so this is our subtotal. So what has happened to our retained earning at the year end? 56 and 4, 56 and 4, 56 and 4, and then this will be basically same. It will be sum of everything. This patent will be same. So excess depreciation is 4 divided by how many years does it have? So patent had a remaining useful life for 4 years. So it was purchased on this date. That means exactly 1 year, right? So 4 divided by 4 into 1 minus 1. Okay. So that's sum of all this will be 131. This figure minus this figure, right? Just remove this, okay? It's easier, Should be 120. Eh? Okay, so it should be sum of everything. Even this thing, same thing. It should be sum of everything. Okay, that's good now. Copy and then let's paste it over here. Alright, okay, so once that's done, let's move on over here. So what was this is in dinar, okay? So share capital is 200 and 300, right? 200 and 300. 200. This will be same figure. Here it will be 300. Let's see if there is dinar currency, but it's not dollar. More currencies, okay? Dinar, not dollar, dinar. Not dollar, dinar. Okay, this is getting too much. So what I'll do is I'll just turn this to number, okay? This should be number. 200, 300. What I'll do is dinar. I'll just write it in dinar. Once that's done, so let's check out the initial figures. So fair value of net assets 495, right? 495, okay. 495, and then after that, what else? So non-controlling interest was this much, and retained earning was 220. What about other component of equity? I think there is none of that, isn't it? Other component of equity is not there. Yep. So no need to worry about that. Easy. That means fair value of land will be 495 minus this, right? So over here as well, it will be the same figure, and over here will be sum of everything, right? Sum of everything. Four ninety five, 575, right? This minus this 80. Best, 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 right? Okay, so now that's done. So let's Move on to working note number 3. This will give us our goodwill, right? Working note number 3, calculation of goodwill. So bold it, and then in case of petal, right? Cost of investment, fair value of non-controlling IREST, interest, less fair value of net asset acquisition. Date, right? This will be our goodwill at acquisition. So this will be our bold figure. Right, so we will do the same thing for this fellow as well. Change this, right? So what was our cost? Our cost was 94, and then NCI was 46.94 and 46.94. 46, nothing else has been given. So fair value of net assets is this figure, right? Plus this. So what about over here? So in this case, NCI was 250, and then how much did we pay? 250. Okay, 250 is there. How much did we pay? It's not here, right? So how can we find out? Guess. How can we find out? Like I've told you many times. So basically, so in non-current assets, right? So STEM 46 million. So it's in million, dollar million. We need to convert it into dinar million, right? So 46, since all these other figure are in dinar, so we need to convert it into dinar, right? So see, this is 250 million in dinar, so if we don't convert it, it will be a mistake. So 6 is our initial exchange rate, right? So we change it by that figure. So this plus this figure, right? So goodwill at acquisition will be this plus this 51, right? So anything else? What about impairments? No impairments since acquisition. Okay, good. No issue of shares as well. No impairment as well, right? No impairment. Okay, good. That means we can basically solve this. This is plus this, right? So once that's done, no. This 31 is, we need to translate it. Okay, so let's do it side by side. I'll translation of net assets of STEM, right? Particulars, opening balance of it for the year and then closing balance, translation gain slash loss, right? So this will be dinar, this will be exchange rate, this will be dollar, right? Was the opening balance, this is in dinar, right? So that was the opening balance. What was the closing balance? This figure, right? 575. What was the profit for the year? 80, right? So what was our exchange rate? It's given over here. So 6, 5.8 and 5. 6, 5.8 and 5. 6, 5.8 and then 5, right? So let's convert it into dollar, which will be this figure divided by this figure, right? So same thing over here as well. Right, so copy, paste, right? So what we need to do is that this figure will be this minus this, right? So this will be our translation gain or loss. So this will be attributed to translation gain, right? Gain attributable to, distributed between parent and NCI, parent and NCI. So what's the parent holding percentage is this into how much is the parent getting, 52%, this figure, right? And then again NCI is getting working note 18 into this figure, right? So same thing for goodwill as well, okay? So same thing for goodwill as well, we need to translate it, translation of goodwill of stem, right? So what was the opening balance? Was 31, and then impairment for the year is nothing, so this will be sum of all this, right? So it's 13, right? So our gain will be 1.033, so this will be attributed towards this figure into not K16, it's this figure K4, K4 and K5, right? K5, okay, 4 and 5. So once that's been translated, now we can put the goodwill in, okay? So now the goodwill will be this figure, which is already in dollar. So since this is in dinar, we have translated it. This figure is the translated goodwill, right? At the closing rate. So 6.2 goodwill. So once that's done, goodwill has been attributed as well, right? So what do we need to do? Working note number 4, calculation of NCI, right? calculation of NCI. So we can put in this figure as well, because this figure will be basically 385 117, 385 plus 117 plus 430, 430 plus what's our excess value was this figure, and then after that land was this figure, right? So this should be our PPE, right? No, nope, nope. What do we need to do is that we need to create a separate working note. Okay, so this will be separate working note. It's not that easy. So we have to do some translation over here as well, because remember this figure is in dinar, so we will have to account for that as well. So let's look at NCI first of all. So in case of NCI, what do we basically need to find out is fair value of NCI at NCI of petal, right? First of all, petal's NCI is this figure, fair value of NCI of stem. So let's just do everything for petal first of all. Share of profit of petal, which is basically this figure into 70%, right? Not 70, 30, 30%, right? And then after that, is there any impairment? Nope, there is only. So which was the selling that had happened in petrol, right? So we need to account for that as well. So what I'll do is quickly we'll create another working note. Note number 7 is already gone, that means 8. Working note number 8. Okay, bold it, increase in decrease in NCI. Bold it, right? So what has happened is credit cash, how much cash did we pay them, debit NCI, and then see, right, what was the cash did we pay them for additional purchase? 19, right? Okay, 19. And what was the NCI? It was basically at the year end, it was this figure plus this figure, right? 2.1. So this is 30%. That means we need to remove 10% out of it. So 10 divided by 30, right? Okay, so once that's done, so we received only that much. That means a negative movement in other component of equity. Component of equity, right? So there will be a minus of this figure. Reduction in NCI, right? Working note number 8. Value VA. Please forgive me about my mistakes with letters. Okay, once that's done, so let's calculate for fair value of NCI of STEM, right? So STEM's NCI is this figure divided by what was the opening rate? Opening rate was 6. Okay, so after that's done, oh, what about share of post acquisition profit? Profit, right? So this figure is basically you can use two different ideas. Okay, so since over here when we are translating net assets, it's already been translated. So you could do that as well. This figure into its holding percentage. Otherwise, what you could do is that this divided by 5.8 and then you get this figure and then you multiply it by that figure, right? Into its holding percentage, okay? So I'll just do that because we've already calculated it, right? So 48%. So 6.62 is also done. So anything else that we need to remove from here? Okay, another important thing is translation gain or loss. Translation gain of goodwill translation gain of net assets. So how much is goodwill share or NCI? It's this figure, right? So in case of this, it's this figure or NCI, right? So our sum will be this figure, okay? Total will be in bold J45, right? So we can put in this figure. This is now ready. J55 shape. Okay, let's link it. Okay, so once that's done, so let's move on to working note number 5. Bolded calculation of reserves, right? So bold it and then 100% of parent. So what was the parent's retained earning? It's given over here 256, and then share of profit of metal, share of profit of stem, right? So this figure will be, we need to eliminate the other component of equity. So this minus this, right, into how much is our holding percentage? 70%, right? Okay, so let's reference it over here. So I'm working with number 2 of stem. And this is also working out number 3, working out number 2, right? And this is also from working out number 3. Working note number 3. Okay, share of profit. This is from working note number 2. So this will also be from working note number. So what we can do directly over here is we can't use the translated one because what we need to eliminate is other component of equity. Okay, so since over here there is no other component of equity and we have already translated it, so even though if you divide 80 divide by its exchange rate, you'll get this figure. So let's just skip it, like I mean, just to keep it simple, I'll just use this figure into what's our holding percentage for parent, right? It's 52. Okay, so if there was other component of equity, we have to present it separately, so we can't do this. But we had to, what we have to do, otherwise we had to subtract that same as this one. Okay, so see how we subtracted the other component of equity and then we multiplied by our percentage holding, right? So we had to do that, but in this case we don't need to do it because there is no other component of equity, right? So once this is done, so anything else, translation gain or loss? No, not over here, because it goes into working note number, other working note. Okay, working note number 6 will be uh, other component of equity or parent, or we can say roles, and then for petal. Stem, right? So no, stem does not have anything, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay, good, easy. Rows is, how much is rows? 7 and then 4, right? 7 and then share of post acquisition movement, right? So which is basically, this is the post acquisition into holding percentage 70%, right? Right. And then let's not forget this figure as well. Less purchase, right? So there has been a loss minus this figure, right? 2.6966. So this will be our total sum of all this. Okay. Okay, so let's put in the figures for this. Okay, first of all, let's do it for this. This will be patent is 4, right? So there was a depreciation as well until date, so carrying amount will be 3. Okay, so once that's done, so share capital will be same for the parent, directly 158, right? 158. So retained earning will be, we've already calculated it, group retained earning, and then after that other component of equity has already been calculated as well, this figure. And then what else do we need to calculate? Working note number 7, right? Working note number 7, right? Cancellation reserve. So what is this? How much will be this? Uh, Translation gain on net assets. Copy paste. Copy paste on goodwill as well, right? So since it has already been distributed, we just need to put in the figures. This figure will be, what's our net assets for parent is this, right? For goodwill, parent share is this. Okay, so this figure will directly go over here. This figure will be this, right? And this will be sum of all this. One name, right? Total equity will be this plus this. Okay, 150.2, right? What about over here? So we are missing few figures, so we need to, so let's create a something for patent, I mean PE as well. Working note number 9, PPE, right? So bold it, parent, I mean rose, petal, fair value adjustment for petal, stem, fair value adjustment for stem. So what was rose is PP 385 117, right? 385 117. Fair value of petal was, how much was there? Excess land, right? 30. In case of stem, how much was the PPE? 430 dinars, right? Okay, 430 dinars. And then what was our closing rate? What was our closing rate? Divided by our closing rate, right? So that's the for stem, and then fair value adjustment, which is in dinar, needs to be converted, right? So this divide by again our closing rate 5. Always translate non-current assets, I mean non-monetary item at closing rate. I mean like not closing rate, but when it was purchased or when it was revalued, right? So total is 633. Okay, so this is N51. 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 Okay, what has happened? Why is there a bit of different figure? Did I miss anything? Let's check. What about current assets figure? Yeah, I think that there should be a mistake over there only. 100 and 330, right? 100 and 330. Okay, interesting, interesting. So 330 is in dinar as well, right? So we need to calculate that. So current assets will be this, divide by 5 again. Okay, so now 942.2. Okay. Okay, so remember I have not translated it. So if I'm changing this figure, I should change this figures as well. So 160 and 100 divided by 5 divided by 5. Now it's good. Okay. So always remember all these small mistakes when we are presenting it. Always remember whether we are presenting it in dollars or in dinars. So small tiny mistakes, it's very likely to occur. So always remember that in case of foreign currency translation. Okay. So this is it, guys. So I won't make it too long because we also need to do the second part of the question, right? Which is regarding IAS. So we need to talk about monetary and non-monetary assets and then how it is dealt with in individual financial statement and in case of consolidated. Okay, so let's talk about that in the next video. So since this has already been too long, so if you have any questions until now, please do comment down below. I'll definitely answer it for you. So you might ask questions, like there might be something that you might look into. So current assets is, it might include non-monetary assets like monetary assets like receivables as well, right? So you might say, why is it uh, changed at closing rate, or like in case of PPE, why was it changed at closing rate? You might ask that. So you know what I mean. So it's normally, in case of current assets, it's normally done at closing rate anyway. So that does not really make any difference, right? So even though this PPE is non-monetary assets, non-monetary item, so we are translating it at using closing rate, right? Remember over here. So this fair value adjustment was translated at closing rate. Why was that? Why did we do that? It could be a question that you might ask. So please do comment down below. Like, please answer it in comment. I'll definitely look forward to your answers. So until next video, bye bye.